Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another midweek video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than some of the videos that I have been posting lately, but as we have been renovating this camper, making repairs and doing all of those things, this is something that I have been thinking about a lot, and I want to talk about why I will never, ever, ever, ever buy a travel trailer, fifth wheel RV ever again. Now, there are a couple of exceptions to that rule, but you're going to have to wait until later on in the video to hear what those are. Before we begin, I do want to ask that if you've clicked on this video after having watched a couple of my other videos, that you please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. It helps my channel out a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. That said, let's get into it. The number one reason why I will never buy a travel trailer fifth wheel ever again is the trauma. We went into our first buying experience with our eyes as open as they could possibly be, and although we were anticipating a few hiccups, I, speaking for myself, was not prepared for what that rig put us through. If you don't know and you haven't been around for a while, we used to own a 2013 Shasta Oasis, and we purposefully bought a little bit of an older rig because we were trying to avoid a lot of the issues that people seem to run into with brand new rigs. But it seems like no matter what you do, whether you buy new or old, this brand or that brand, with a couple of exceptions, the one universal experience of RV owners everywhere is the trauma. It's not if something is going to go wrong, it's when. And although we were prepared for some things, we were not prepared for everything. From finding really extensive water damage from the slide once we started renovating it that we did not see before we bought it, to having a hub on one of our axles separate and explode as we were going down the highway, resulting in us being stuck somewhere we did not want to be for about a week trying to get repairs, to walking in from taking showers to find a giant puddle of water in the middle of our floor directly below our AC unit, and so many other things that I honestly have just kind of blocked from my memory at this point. There have been so many little things that happened that were honestly pretty traumatic. The only silver lining to it is that all of those experiences really inoculated me to stress in an interesting way, because like I said, it's not if something goes wrong, it's when, and you get really good at just kind of rolling with the punches and just grimly accepting when the bad things happen. And of course, you're going to have that with anything. Anything in life comes with the good and the bad, but it's hard not to feel like those things are exacerbated even more when you're living in a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, something that really is not designed to be lived in 24/7 the way that we are. The second reason why I will never buy a fifth wheel or travel trailer again is that the older a rig gets, the harder it is to find parts and make repairs. Once an RV is past about 5 years old, manufacturers, especially now, recently, stop making the parts for them. So if you need anything more specific than like some piping or a new faucet, it can get really, really tricky to find the right parts for your RV because they just don't exist anymore. We ran into this issue when we needed to repair some of the exterior paneling on ours and could not find the correct paneling. We had to search high and low, and we ended up buying paneling for a completely different RV that just so happened to have the right groove and ridge markings to match closely enough that you really couldn't notice that it was something completely different. That was an ordeal in and of itself, and that's just one example. We made so many repairs and did so many things to that travel trailer, and we ran into that issue continuously. And that, again, comes back to the whole trauma thing that I was talking about. It was just such a headache and emotionally and mentally exhausting at the end of the day. Third and final reason why I will never buy a travel trailer or fifth wheel ever again is that they are built like garbage. Anyone who has spent longer than 5 minutes in one, who has lived in one, could tell you the same thing. And it seems like this issue is by and large getting worse and not better. With the pandemic in the last few years, RV manufacturers were cranking out RVs as fast as they possibly could to meet a booming demand as people were seeking new alternative ways to get out and live a life with everything being shut down. So it seems like they kind of rushed things a little bit in order to meet that demand, and the consumer has paid the price. Allegedly, travel trailers and fifth wheels are inspected for roadworthiness and certain fire and electrical safety things, but There are so many stories out there from people who have found that their rigs were not up to par and not prepared for extensive travel and for the types of road trips that people want to take with their rigs. I have heard stories from people that I know personally, people who are here working in the park with me now, who have brand new super fancy rigs that have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of issues. That is one thing in and of itself, but then trying to get those things fixed, even if it's a brand new rig, is really difficult. I know people who have been stuck in hotels for upwards of 6 months waiting for manufacturers to repair mistakes that they made before the RV was rolled off of the assembly line. That's just sad. Like, you pay thousands of dollars, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars. You expect that that money is going to be worth something concrete, some tangible value, and it really doesn't seem like it is. A lot of RVs are putting out clubhouse built by 12-year-old energy, and that's just not a vibe that you want when you are putting your whole life into it. I saw a story one time where somebody had bought a brand new fifth wheel. They were taking it down the road for the first time, and I'm not kidding you, the top of the RV separated from the trailer and fell right off because the manufacturers neglected to secure the actual house part of it to the trailer part of it. How does that happen? I don't know, but I'm not cool with it and I don't want to support that. So why would you buy a travel trailer or fifth wheel given all of these issues? I think if you are willing to trade up and get something different every year to 2 years, it could be fine. If you're willing to accept the fact that things are just going to be jank and there's nothing that you can do about it, and you're not planning on keeping this thing for years and years and years, then it could be fine. RVs are depreciating assets. There are very few RVs out there that hold their value. Most of them depreciate significantly in the first 5 years and become practically worthless within 10 to 12 years. It's not something that you're going to buy and then keep for decades and pass on to future generations, unless you just really hate your family and you want to leave them with a hunk of junk that they're going to have to try to figure out how to get rid of. So if you're willing to trade up every year or so, maybe it doesn't matter and maybe none of this would really bother you. If you're just looking for something that you want to take out on a weekend to go camping, I think it's fine. It's definitely a step up from a tent. You have electrical and an indoor shower and a nice bed that you can sleep in. So for weekends camping, it's really probably fine. And if you're looking for more of a luxurious glamping experience, then an RV would probably fit the bill perfectly. And if you just don't care about any of the things that I've outlined, if it just doesn't faze you or the trade-offs, whatever they may be for you, outweigh any of these cons, then I guess this would work as well, and that would be another valid reason to buy one. Now, I do want to say that there are, of course, exceptions to this rule. I'm not hard and fast saying that I would never buy a bumper pull type trailer or a fifth wheel gooseneck type situation, because there are manufacturers out there who do seem to be taking cares to create a quality product that people can safely use. The few that come to mind are obviously Airstreams, which just seem like they're pretty bulletproof, and fiberglass clamshell type campers like the one that we have now, like a Bigfoot or a Scamp or similar like that. Bigfoot and Scamp do make bumper pull and fifth wheel style campers. They are not as common, but they do exist and you can find them, and I think they look really, really cool. Plus, you have the added confidence of knowing that there are just not as many seams and places where issues can arise, places where things can separate and come apart. And plus, the fact that they're fiberglass means that you basically treat them like a boat, and they're a lot easier to repair and fix than a traditional fiberglass or stick and tin style RV would be. We specifically bought this 97 Bigfoot even though it is over 20 years old, because we knew it was a quality product. These companies seem to put a lot more care into the product that they make. They also don't seem to be concerned with cranking out a ton of them, which again I think speaks to the quality. So if I was going to give advice to anyone looking to buy a fifth wheel or travel trailer type setup, I would highly recommend checking out Airstreams. I know they're not for everyone, but they do hold their value, and there's a reason for that. And then also Scamps and Bigfoots and fiberglass clamshell style campers. So those are my reasons why I will never ever buy a fifth wheel or travel trailer ever again. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. If you've had an experience that has led you to similar conclusions, go ahead and share it. If you disagree completely, I would love to hear your thoughts as well. But that is it for me for now. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. It really helps and lets me know that you enjoy content like this. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.